What's up, everyone? Zed here with another review, and this review is going to be about the first episode of It, Welcome to Derry. And let me tell you, this episode was a very weird way, well, I wouldn't say weird, but it was a crazy way to start off the first episode. Which the episode starts off in the movie theater in January 1962, which now takes place like 27 years before the events of the first film, which shows a kid, watching a movie theater that he snuck into through a musical. Ends up getting caught, he ends up getting, spotted by one of the movie theater workers there, and he actually manages to escape. And he was trying to leave the town for some odd reason, which we don't even know. And he hitches a ride with this car, or a family car, which he finds out that it's not the family. They were acting very strange, and I'm just gonna leave it at that because like some weird stuff happens in that scene, which left me like jaw dropped. I stood quiet for like a good 2 minutes just trying to process what happened in that scene. Afterwards, and then cuts off to the episode where it cuts off into a military base, which also shows two new characters called Leroy and Polly. Which you found out that Leroy is also the grandfather of Mike from the first chapter, which he was just shown a brief moment about in that one scene with Mike trying to like off a sheep, which I vaguely remembered. But anyways, he gets called in from coming back from Korea to do like a mission that his general called him for. Which you find out later on in the episode that he's actually, wants him to pilot a B-52 bomber that they're working on. But it also plays a good role in the series. Also plays a good role with the timeline it takes in, because it takes place in 1962, which also has like a bunch of segregation going on, a lot of racism, and a bunch of like everything being like separated, which everybody likes to like treat everybody weird. It also introduces us another character called Lily, which we find out that she's being bullied at school for some odd reason for her being crazy. Which you also find out that in a flashback, she actually was talking to the kid that actually gets off in the episode. Which you find out that his name was also Maddie. And turns out the reason why they treat her like that is because the fact that I think she said something about that her dad was trying to save somebody, and for some reason nobody would want to believe her for some odd reason, which again, I get that. And it also introduces us another character called Ted, who was I don't know if I should say this word, but I'll just leave it at that. Like he has parents that are very religious and very strict with the whole Holocaust stuff. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. So far, like the episode as it was starting off, it starts introducing the characters good, but I feel like the kids some of them were iffy with the acting, but it could just be me. But when it switches to like Leroy and Polly, like they actually had a good the acting was really good. They actually played the roles. And then going to the end of the episode, it actually cuts off to a movie theater scene, which you find out that that's where Maddie was left off there, and just the most crazy stuff happened there that I was just like, what was going on? And then it makes you really forget that it's a prequel series. So just be forewarned that some people are not gonna survive in this show. And if I have a feeling that I'm correct, if it does take place, since it does take place in 1962, my guess it could be where the series end, or they might show it halfway through the show, where there was also a mentioning in the first movie where there was a club fire that happened. So I don't know if they're gonna show that scene, or they're gonna reference it, or mention it. But so far, overall, I give it like a 9 out of 10 for the first episode. And let's see where this series is gonna go from there on out. Take care. Have a good day.